Good day, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about learning and development with my special guest, Steve Walker. We'll be making a business case for companies to adopt more online learning as a business strategy and also as a recruitment strategy and a retention strategy to keep your best talent within the organisation. I'm planning today to talk to Steve about how technology has moved on over the last few years, because Steve's developing quite a reputation in the marketplace for developing his own technology L&D platform, Improve, and there's some interesting aspects to this. So I'm interested to find out from Steve, how the technology's moved on. Now, I've known Steve for the last 6 months, and just to be completely transparent, we have moved on to the Improve platform. That's how impressed we've been with the technology itself. And I know that my team are really enjoying using it. It's added an element of professionalism to the way that we're doing our own onboarding of staff, the way we're doing our own onboarding of clients. There's some really great features in there, and there's access to some really useful training material as well. Steve, before I give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, now I was doing a little bit of background reading on you before we came on today, and I can see that you're recognised in the industry as being a bit of a maverick within the L&D industry. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to explain to everybody why that might be. Now I know you've been in the L&D industry for about 20 years. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Good morning. Good afternoon. Thanks very much, Mark, for the intro. Yeah, I've been in the sector now for over 20 years, and as you say, recognised really as a bit of a maverick. My early part of my career, I spent working with the government for the first 5 years as an investor in people advisor, and then I did some work for Business Link within the SME market on general kind of management consultancy and people development consultancy, and then moved on sort of 15 years then into commercial learning and development, where I've spent a lot of time working on some quite high-end leadership and management development programs, through to getting involved with other kind of government initiatives, apprenticeships, and everything else throughout that period. And then over the last 4 years, then moving into the online space, so kind of completing the whole loop really in terms of everything that's required from an L&D point of view. Right.
I'm quite interested how you made that transition into the technology space, because having done that myself, going from sort of a recruitment agency background into working on recruitment tech, did that come naturally to you?
It did, and the background certainly helped from where we kind of came from. I mean, 4 or 5 years ago now, we had a number of customers that wanted to kind of explore online learning, and obviously through researching the market at that point, that's where everything was going. And being the sort of organisation that always wants to keep up with the times and keep their customers at the forefront of L&D, it was really, really critical that we kind of help that kind of transition. So although it's quite a difficult thing to do, to transition from a traditional kind of face-to-face L&D type business into a purely digital online business, but we have, we've achieved that and been really successful with it over the last kind of 4 years.
Well, I think you've been quite modest. I mean, the Improve platform is a multi-award-winning online learning service. I also noted when I was doing my background work on you that you're also operating as an ambassador for the Institute of Directors for their skills and learning technologies.
Yeah, I've been involved with the IOD for probably the past 13 years now. And I've had a number of different roles there, but obviously with my specialism now in the L&D and the online tech space, that is an area that I am ambassador for. I think it's an interesting point to recognise that Improve is based purely on the SME market. And what we found 4 years ago when we entered the online learning market was that there was over kind of 700 platforms on the market globally. But none of those focus specifically on the SME market. So what we've done via Improve is developed the first online learning platform that's specifically geared towards the SME market, and based on really a high quality product at low subscription, because again, recognising that SMEs from an affordability point of view, they need something that can afford and that's going to add value to them and that's really relevant to the SME market. And that's one of the things we found it just wasn't catered for.
Look, I don't want to steal your thunder because I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about Improve because it's really an interesting product. But, you know, we are going to try and remain sort of relatively impartial today. And we're going to talk generically, aren't we, about sort of L&D. You're going to help us sort of put this business case forward for why businesses should be looking specifically at sort of online training right now. And also, perhaps we can talk about, you know, what somebody should be looking for, you know, in an L&D platform, because there's going to be people listening to this right now that don't have an L&D platform, and you know they're not going to really know what they should be looking for. So I'm really interested to hear from you how things have moved on in the last few years.
Yeah, sure. So I think if we sort of focus through on, I think there's a number of key things before we kind of get into the online learning side of things. And I've always found this throughout my career that you know, businesses are they're very good at producing business plans for the organisation, setting a direction. But where we're not so good is then actually aligning a training plan. And a training plan might sound quite grand, particularly to SME-based businesses, but it really is critical. And so making sure that, you know, all of the training that you deliver then is aligned to delivering whatever plan that is that you're focusing on. And I think at the moment there's never been more of an important time for looking at this sort of stuff, because again, many businesses are developing recovery business plans at the moment. It's really important to look at the kind of the skills and the business model that you want to kind of adopt going forward, to make sure that people have got a racing chance of making sure that your business is resilient going forward. And there's a lot of talk at the moment about resilience and business resilience, but again, you know, you're never going to achieve that if people aren't resilient. And that's where, you know, having the case for an online learning type platform, specifically during these sorts of times that we find ourselves in, is crucial really, to be able to deliver that kind of ongoing support, information, training, guidance to people, and making sure that it's personalised and relevant to those individuals and groups across your businesses.
I'm guessing, Steve, that you know there's a lot of online training taking place at the moment, probably more so than, you know, when everybody's back in the office, and so there's a great opportunity, is there not, to record that and put it into an L&D platform. You know, if a good session is being delivered, why not have the ability to be able to share it and reuse it again? Yeah,
I think it's, you know, it's one of the only ways at the moment. I mean, we've seen a huge upturn in the amount the usage on the platform by existing customers, and also the amount of kind of new customers as well that are looking to engage with online learning for the first time. So I think it's really key that you know, that you find a platform that kind of works for you, where you can provide that personalisation. I think within the SME market, it's really key to look at you know, being able to build out a personalised learning pathway of support for each individual and for teams. The other thing that we're seeing quite a lot is, you know, where people are going back into work, is building out those kind of inductions and programs and sort of building people back into work properly and making sure that they're meeting government guidance and health and safety and all those sorts of things. Because even if there is a prolonged kind of period of home working, it's still crucial that we're making sure that we cover off all of that kind of important compliance training. And you can achieve that really easily through an online platform, where you can still take people through training, you can assess their competence and test their knowledge, and then you've got a kind of a live documented record online that they've been through that training and they've passed the necessary training around that area, so that if you do get a problem then at some point, then you're always covered from an audit and compliance perspective. Yeah. So I mean, most people will get that from sort of their own internal staffing perspective. You know, most businesses will have some sort of onboarding and training, won't they, which could easily be adapted within your platform. Which is, I mean, I've been just so impressed with how simple and easy it is to create. Or what you got? I think you call them projects. Is that right? Yeah, we've got you know, a number of what you can build out sort of playlists that we call them in the platform, So again, you can structure a playlist for either an individual, a job role. You can structure a playlist for a particular group, a project team, a department. So again, you've got the free rein then to push whatever training and support you need to those particular people, so that it's always relevant. I mean, we've got there's around about 60 courses in there now. There's over 100 hours worth of learning and training available within the platform. But it doesn't preclude you from setting up your own training courses, putting your own materials around our courses as well to personalise them and make them relevant. So again, using an online platform of some description enables you to provide that kind of really personalised experience for people.
And I'm guessing that if people have a relationship with a training provider, online training provider, that you can facilitate an integration or putting other people's training courses into their L&D platform. Well, I'm suggesting a decent L&D platform should enable that. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's all about relevance and personalisation now. And I think if I just move on to the next slide, we're starting to see a huge growth in the online learning space, and particularly when you're looking at things like microlearning. So what we're championing at Improve is this birth of microlearning within the SME market. And I'll go on and I'll just explain a little bit about microlearning, because I think this is quite a key point. It's a Greek word that means small. So essentially, when it comes to online learning, it's about getting your e-learning in small doses and delivering tiny bursts of training material to people so that they can understand it. So the way that we've developed Improve, it's all about teach me 80% of what I need to know in 20% of the time, and teach me the practical things that I can then immediately go off and apply to my role and make me successful. So we're not big on theory. A lot of provision out there is very, very heavy on theory. It's about teaching people the practical things that they can go off and do within their job role and make them more successful. So the other things around microlearning is, it's about delivering this on any device as well. The vast majority of people now have got smartphones, and having that ability to learn on the go and on demand is really, really key, and is a key part of microlearning. So we've built Improve really on the basis of Netflix. So if you've got Netflix, you can dip in and dip out of your training courses. You can learn something quickly. You can resume where you left off. You can go back to previous material, because we recognise that you may have gone through a particular training program, but you might not need to use that skill for another 3-4 months down the line. So having the ability to actually go back in and relearn those things is really, really critical. So that's kind of really where the microlearning side of things comes in.
I think it's interesting that you're blending all these different things. I mean, user experience from our own system, we know is absolutely key. Nothing more frustrating. I'm sure most people can relate to going into a website where they can't find their way back. They go off to look at a product or something, and it doesn't bring them back to where they were, in the summary page, and that whole experience, I guess, is encouraging people to stay with the program and get more completion. Do you track those sort of things?
Yeah. I mean, the platform tracks absolutely everything. So because it's built on a really sound learning management platform, everything that happens within the platform is trackable and reportable. So as a business, you can track everything that people are doing. The key thing is that you push the content and training that you want and need people to deliver to those individuals. So they've got access to their own training and learning page. They can, as I say, they can access it through any device. But what some businesses are doing as well is, outside of that, they're giving them access to other things that they may want to learn that may not be directly related to their particular job role. But it's just, it does identify those people that have got a real thirst for learning. And that's really, really key.
So, I mean, although we're talking quite a lot about Improve, specifically, if I was out there in the market looking for, an L&D platform to deliver my own internal training and to import external training programs into it, Are these the sort of things that I should be looking for in a modern platform?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. You know, you've got to be looking for things that make it relevant. I mean, you know, there are other good opportunities out there. There's things like LinkedIn Learning. You know, a lot of people use that sort of approach. However, what I do find with that is that's very learner led. So, you know, whereas if you've got your own platform, you know, you set the agenda for the people in terms of the training and learning that you want them to go through. And you'd hope then that it's far more relevant to them, to your business. And then going back to the kind of the original discussion around making sure that training is aligned with the business plan and strategy that you've got going forward, it gives you a racing chance of actually delivering that, because you're developing people's skills and performance around those key areas that you need them to improve in.
So, I mean, one of the things that we're looking at right now within the platform is creating not only something that makes people accountable for completing or watching or doing the course, but also some form of accreditation, so that people are recognised and rewarded for not only completing the course, but for understanding it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you look into the sort of the psychology behind this? You know, that people are being rewarded with some sort of, you know, certification. Does that work well?
Yeah. It does, yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, the certification side of things is important to people. So being able to you know, complete a program, be given a certificate that you can download. People still like to be able to download and print off certificates and keep them in files. You know, that's still something that people like to do. Also tracking things like CPD hours and points. Again, if you've got professional standards that you've got to meet, you know, it's great through a platform being able to kind of manage all of that kind of infrastructure, be able to report on all of that. So yeah, there's a number of things that you can do. I mean, we you know, there is some of the platforms out there. We look at things like gamification, which is in its basic kind of form is really looking at giving people points and prizes for undertaking certain pieces of learning and development. So we've got a number of customers that will have sort of themed months. So it might be, for example, they might have during the mental health awareness week that we've recently had, you know, a number of customers had a mental health month where if people went through certain types of mental health and wellbeing type training, they got, you know, double points. There was a competitive edge that was driven as part of that learning experience for everybody across the business. And it's just about trying to create that kind of culture where people want to learn and develop. And using things like that, just basic kind of points, prizes, a bit like the kind of Fitbit mentality. People like to collect those badges and trophies and all of that sort of stuff. So if you can drive engagement around all of that side of things, that really helps the kind of the will to learn and also the retention of the learning.
Well, you've made 2 points there, which are particularly of interest to me. You know, because we're all about sort of staff retention. You know, within what we do with the recruitment of staff and retention of staff, and this plays a vital role in that. So finding ways of rewarding people who aren't necessarily revenue generators within the business. This could be a good way of, you know, using some sort of point system which they can convert into free coffees or days off or late starts or things like that. And the other thing that you mentioned there was the mental health stuff. So you obviously are very aware of our involvement with the wellness and mental health space. I was going to wait till the end of the slideshow before I brought this up, but it seems sort of relevant to discuss it now. So within the platform, within the improved platform, you've got some free courses, and we'll get to this point again, or we'll reiterate at the end that there is a free trial of your platform. And that will give people full access, am I right, to all the training courses that are in there?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So by our Smart Recruit, you get up to 30-day free trial. Nothing's ring-fenced in there, so you've got full access to all of the courses and the platform to start actually personalising those learning journeys for people. But yeah, I mean, we've sorry.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, but you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say that what we have done during the current kind of climate that we find ourselves in is we've pushed a lot of the kind of home working courses to the front of the development. So we've got a lot more on making sure that people have got the necessary IT skills, the home working skills. There's more coming from a remote management side of things to teach managers how to effectively manage people from home. But there is more and more now coming on sort of the health and well-being, the mental health and stress management side of things, because that is an area that we just need to make sure that we're supporting employees with.
Absolutely. And look, I don't think there's anything more generous that you can offer than to provide businesses that are trialing your system with the ability to take some of these courses, mental health, first aid and things like that. Extremely popular at the moment. So I've seen through other platforms that they are charging for those courses. So, I mean, if people do want to just jump on this and play around with it, even if they just want to use it to take some of those free courses, it's a great opportunity for them to explore around the improved platform, of course.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're a learning business at heart. I know we are a technology business, but we want people to learn and develop. So if people go through the free trial and they like what they see and they want to carry on that journey, then fantastic. That's great, and we'll support them all the way. If people want to go onto the platform and go through some of the courses and update themselves and upskill themselves, and they don't want to carry on that journey, then that's fine as well. So. As I say, we're a learning business at heart, and we want people to learn and develop. So that's why we've offered that kind of 30-day trial through SRO for customers.
Well, I think it's a great approach. We do the same thing ourselves, and it basically allows people to build their own business case for why they should retain it. Now, listen, we don't want this to turn into a sort of a big sell of improvement. I mean, we're using this as an example of everything here. But I think what I find, and we get a lot of feedback from people who take us up on our own free trial, is that the very worst thing is that it gives them a benchmark to measure everybody else against. Because once you start to understand what the capabilities are or restrictions are of a product, then you can start to draw up a more accurate, and desirable list of features that are important to you as an organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, at the outset, it's about personalising that learning journey for people. What a lot of people use online learning platforms as well is not just from a training point of view. It's also from a knowledge retention perspective as well. So, we always talk to lots of customers about, over a period of time, and it does take time to build up your own kind of resources. Is almost building up your own internal Google. Where you've got a searchable function where if somebody needs to know something from a best practice point of view, or information about your business or how you do things, it might be process, it might be standard operating procedures or whatever that may be, then again you've got it all in the platform so that people have got one central place to go to for all of the training and from a knowledge perspective. What we hear lots of stories is if that kind of facility isn't there, and particularly with the younger age, from a millennial point of view, and we'll want to talk about that, they're used to using tech, and they want to learn now, they want to learn on demand, and what they'll do is if they need to know something, they'll jump straight onto Google or YouTube, and what the information that they're getting then is not always on brand and on message for the way that you might want to deliver things as part of your business. So that's quite a key point, really, that, as I say, over a period of time you can start to build up that whole kind of knowledge bank, really, as part of the platform.
Well, listen, this is critical, isn't it? I mean, it's not just about retention of people. This is about the attraction of the best talent that's out there as well. I mean, we know from all the research that's taking place that, young talent coming out of education is looking for, culture as the number one driver as to where they want to sort of, start their career. And that will also influence the longevity that they spend with that organisation as well. And if you're demonstrating that your culture is about supporting those people, enabling them to reach their full potential, which they can only really do with access to, relevant training and these sort of things that can bring the best out of them. Yeah,
there's never been a more critical time mark for that. I mean, if you look at the recent study from PwC, 50% of the workforce now are millennials. And, within the SME market, I don't think that we particularly look after the L&D side of things particularly well at the moment. And that's one of the I just don't think that we just don't cater well for it, because it is a technology side of things. These guys have been brought up with technology. They, like I said a few minutes ago, they want to learn on demand. They want to learn now. They don't want to wait for a training course or be lucky enough to be selected for a training course. They want to learn. They want to have it at their fingertips. Make sure that they've got some kind of development pathway. So you talk about retention. That's a critical thing, particularly within SME businesses. Where they're looking to grow. It may be that they can't promote that individual, that key individual at this point, because there's nowhere for them to go. I hear that quite often. But what having an online platform will enable you to do is to develop that individual, or that group of people, with a development program for 12 to 24 months, while it gives you time to develop that next role. So and it's things like that we're just not kind of catering for, and really understanding, from a business owner perspective, and I'm one of them, you're one of them, is really making sure that we've got that technology in place to deliver that learning, so that we retain people for the long term.
Well, I mean, it's so critical if you're in a small business, isn't it, that the people that work for you, have a diverse range of skills and experience and abilities. So it's almost slightly ironic, isn't it, that SMEs don't embrace this more. Within a large organisation where you might have a dedicated training function within that business, you'd expect that. But within a small business, we need the people that do work for us to be more productive. And I'm sure there's loads of evidence to demonstrate that this does help to increase productivity with individuals within the organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the 20%, 22% increase on having an online learning platform, particularly around microlearning, where people can access things quickly. As you've just said, you've hit on a good point there. Corporate markets, in the main, been really good at this sort of stuff for years. They've got the kind of the resource to deliver a lot of these things. They understand the importance around attraction and retention in the main. And I think one of the things that we wanted to do was to provide a corporate level solution at kind of SME prices, so that SMEs can start to engage with this type of technology, because I think they see it as something for the corporates, and it's too expensive, and it's not going to be relevant. Whereas that's the book that from a disruptor point of view, that's the part that we're really looking to try and
share some prices with people, because I always find when I'm demonstrating Smart Recruit, people are thinking, this looks amazing, but it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. So obviously you can only give improved prices, but this should give people a guideline on what it costs to have a professional L&D platform in place.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible, really, the pricing, and I'll come on to that in a second. We wanted to provide a really high quality product at a low subscription rate. And looking at the other kind of, there isn't technology out there like this at the moment, not specifically geared to the SME market, but looking across other kind of platforms that are similar from a HR perspective, we wanted to make sure that the pricing kind of linked in with that, so that businesses could have a very affordable kind of online learning, training and HR solution, and also linking in with yourselves, Mark, going forward from a recruitment point of view, to kind of tie up that kind of knot. So you'll see here that we've got kind of 6 core areas of courses that we provide. And as I say, we provide these courses, but it doesn't preclude you and stop you from developing your own courses and content and material, and adding those and developing your own courses. Whether you can see that, but it kind of breaks down there into all of the kind of currently available courses. You'll see at the bottom there that we've launched a working from home section recently, because again, we recognise that most people have been mobilised to work from home. They probably had quite a crash course on working from home, and there are different things, and certainly from those businesses that are looking at that as a serious kind of business model going forward, those skills do need to be honed.
We'll get everybody a copy of this slideshow sent out to them afterwards, along with some material from you guys as well. We'll also make sure that we send a link to the recording of today's session if anybody wants to watch it back again or share it with somebody else in the organisation. But, you know, listen, for a company that employs under 20 people, £30 a month for having, you know, a multi-award winning state-of-the-art platform in place, you know, with access to, you know, really relevant, you know, training material, giving you the ability to create your own training courses, etc. It's just a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. As I say, you've got all of the courses on the right-hand side there as well. They're all coming. Once you're in subscription with us, they're all delivered for free, and everything else that we develop going forward. So the functionality is always developing within the platform. It's great as it is. I think an important point is that you can track and report on everything that you're doing as well within the platform. So as you'll see, there is incredible value. And if you worked on the basis that for every single employee you've got about £1,000 worth of value within the platform. So even where you're kind of 1 to 20 employees, you know, you've got up to, if you're at 20 employees, you've got £20,000 worth of value there for £30 a month. I mean, it's incredible value.
Well, we all know the cost of replacing people as well when they leave, and you know the benefits of improving the quality of hires that we make. So if we can attract better people, if we can retain people for longer, and we can increase productivity, you know, there's a triple benefit for £30 a month. Anyway, you're making me sound like I'm selling on your behalf. I know we're sort of coming towards the end of the session now, but any chance we could just do a quick recap on some of the things that people should look for if they are going into the market to, you know, considering taking on an L&D platform?
Yeah, I think one of the first things is making sure that you've got some kind of plan from a training point of view. That you are looking at technology where you can make it relevant to your business and you can personalise it. Obviously, price is important. One of the things we are seeing across the kind of global LMS market is prices increasing actually at the moment, in light of kind of what's going on and this need to kind of work from home and for people to train online. So, you know, cost effectiveness is a really key point. And being able to kind of track and report on everything again and personalise the training programs is really, really key. The ability to manage training and have access to that through any device as well. You know, talking again about the on-demand side of things, and particularly making sure that we cater for the millennial age as well. So to help that kind of attraction and retention piece.
And I'm guessing that for some slightly larger companies or businesses that have invested in technology platforms for either HR or recruitment, the integration piece is there as well. I mean, I know that because we're talking about our own API integration with you guys at the moment. Yeah,
we've got a API integration in with a HR platform called Breathe HR, which is similarly priced. Which and again, you know, we're looking at you know, other APIs with the likes of yourselves and other solutions where it kind of makes sense for an SME point of view. So we almost try and create that kind of people development and management and HR and recruitment function all in one place that's really affordable moving forward. As you said, you know, there'll be larger organisations out there. Again, you know, there are several hundred platforms on the market. We have got a platform for larger organisations. It's a very different price point and a different kind of service offering from what you see here. But again, you know, we're happy to talk to those businesses as well.
Great stuff. And if people do want to get in touch with you directly, I know we're going to skip through probably the last couple of slides now to get to that point with all your contact details on. Obviously, we know everybody that's viewed today, so we'll make sure that they get a follow-up with a link to the recording, and I'll have a chat with you offline after this about stuff that we can package up and send out to people that will be useful.
No, that's great.
Any closing points? Sorry, Steve. Any closing points?
No, I think really, you know, we're in a period at the moment where online learning is really coming to the fore, and if you haven't got a solution, I really would say, that you need to be looking at a solution. We've obviously got one. There are lots of others out there that you can have a look at. But yeah, it's about really reskilling people at the moment, and the only way and the best way to do that, the most cost-effective way, is doing it online and making sure that they get the support that they need, so that you can be successful in delivering whatever recovery plan that you've got over the next kind of 12, 24 months. So yeah, just to finish off, Mark, that'd be the key kind of summary points, I would say.
Key takeaway. Well, listen, Steve, thank you ever so much for joining me today. I hope that some of this has been useful and insightful. As we say, we've adopted the improved platform ourselves. And so, you get a personal endorsement from us, mate. It's been really simple and easy to use. The onboarding was very straightforward, and we've been really enjoying working with you guys as well. So, listen, if you don't have a system in place and you're thinking about this, get in touch with Steve. There's a free trial there through, or anybody that's associated through Smart Recruits. So come to us direct or go to Steve and just mention that you've watched this webinar, and I'm sure they'll look after you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for your time today. And thank you for everybody for joining us. We look forward to speaking to you soon.
Great. Thank you, Mark.